Polk County Mommy and Daddy of the Year are in even more trouble after additional charges have been filed against them. So, if you remember last month, Caitlin and Christopher Freeman were arrested after their 7-year-old child was taken to the hospital, barely clinging to life. I think police actually described him as a skeleton with skin. On July 15th, when the 7-year-old was taken to Dardanelle Regional Medical Center and then later transported to Arkansas Children's Hospital, he weighed just 28 pounds. Again, that's at 7 years old. He had a core body temperature of 88.4 degrees. He had posturing hands, dilated eyes. He was not responding to any stimuli. He was having trouble breathing. He was pale and dusty in color. He was barely holding on, clinging to life when he was taken by his parents to the hospital finally for medical treatment. And that was after being locked in a closet for a significant amount of time, off and on, and being starved to death. He wasn't allowed to eat. He wasn't allowed to go to the restroom because there were plenty of signs that he had used the restroom in the closet. This young boy was being tortured by his parents. He was being held hostage by his parents, the Oompa Loompas. I mean, and I say that, and I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't say things like that, but obviously these two have had access to plenty of food. No shame to anyone else that is struggling with weight or anything like that. But it just gets to me how these two have had plenty of access to food and yet they are starving their child to death. So they didn't just have the 7-year-old, they also had a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. The same day they took their child to the hospital, they were both arrested and charged with one count of first degree battery and one count of endangering the welfare of a minor in the first degree. Before I say anything else, know that these two are still being held in the Polk County Detention Center, but this week they had charges added, several of them. So, in addition to the first two counts, these two individuals are now being charged with one count of attempted capital murder, two counts of kidnapping where the victim was voluntarily released alive, and two additional counts of endangering the welfare of a minor in the first degree. They have also been charged with one count of tampering with physical evidence. Both parents have been charged the same. Now, I have never heard of the charge kidnapping the victim being voluntarily released alive. That is a B felony where regular kidnapping is a Y felony. I would have to imagine that the two added endangering the welfare of a minor in the first degree charges were for the other two children that were in the custody and control of Caitlin and Christopher Freeman up until the day that these two were arrested. I will continue to update if anything new happens in this case. Like I have said before, it's so disheartening, upsetting to know that this 7-year-old boy, all he wanted was to be loved, and he ended up with these two terrible humans for parents and almost lost his life. It is a little appalling to me that they were given a lighter kidnapping charge for releasing children alive, when the only reason that any of that happened was because they obviously didn't want to be charged with actual murder, but they waited until the last possible second to get that child medical help anyway. But also, it feels a bit like they're throwing everything at the Freemans, hoping that something sticks and that they are able to put these two in prison. So, I mean, I'm all for that. I really don't think there is a better place for these two individuals than spending their lives in prison.